Thank you so much for joining us on Silently Bleeding. It's my great pleasure to introduce to you Rachel.
Hello.
I was raised in a pastor's home. I'm married to a pastor, and I am a pastor. I've experienced hurt through criticism, rejection, and the way people have treated my children. We will be discussing these subjects and so much more right here on Silently Bleeding, Finding Hope for the Pastor's Wife.
So Rachel, tell me a little bit about you.
Yeah, sure. So I am a single missionary to Cambodia, and I really enjoy just honestly spending time with people that I love. That can be my neighbors, my closest friends. I consider them like family. I could be playing games, just sitting on the couch drinking coffee. That's honestly what I get my most joy from.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today.
I am single, and to be honest, never been on a date, never had a boyfriend, and that wasn't the plan. It wasn't the plan at all. The plan was to get married by, I would say, like 24, have kids by 26, and that was the life that I planned for myself. God just had very, very different. And for a long time, there was bitterness. There was jealousy, there was anger, why is this not working? And honestly, there was feelings of rejection and unwantedness. Like, nobody wants me, I'm so undesirable. And it was hard, and it was a long season. And for some people, for some ladies, that season can be a year, 5 years, 10 years. But for myself, I feel like my ministry is more similar to Paul's. And I felt that way actually since I was about 21 years old. But funny when you tell people that, they tend to say, no, you'll find the right man, it's okay. And they feel the need to console you. And so, and then like the following year or so, I had two of my best friends get married. And I was both of their maids of honor and had a really hard time being happy for them, honestly. I had a really hard time being happy for them, and I want to say that's not true because they're like my sisters. But I wanted to be in it. You know, they were getting engaged together, they were wedding planning together, they were getting married like 5 months apart or something. I wanted to be a part of that. I didn't even have a boyfriend. So that was hard. And so I kind of I dropped the whole I'm going to be single like Paul thing. And I just was like, when I get married, this, when I'm gonna do that, and that kind of thing, and just stewed. I stewed in the bitterness for a few years until, May 22nd, 2018. Yeah.
What happened on May 22nd, 2018? Tell us.
I attended district council for the first time, and we had an amazing altar call. Lasted like 2 hours. And in that time, I was just, praying and asking God, what is the sacrifice you want me to give up? I'm going to be a missionary to Cambodia, but I don't feel like I'm sacrificing anything because I really want to go.
Yeah.
So what's the sacrifice? Not even half a second later, husband immediately comes to my mind. And I'm like, no, not that. No, Lord, not that. And then the pleading starts to come in, but no, because I want it.
Yeah.
I really, God, I'm like a child, but I really, really want it. Why would you do that? And he's like, I've offered this to you before, when I was 21, and you said no. This is the only other offer that's going to come up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he said that, and he was very clear. This is the only other offer that's going to come up. And I was like, okay. And I considered it. And the thing is he said that the offer came up, and that, if I were to decline it, I could have a husband. But I knew that even if I married the richest man on the planet, it wouldn't compare. He couldn't give me what God could give me.
Oh, that's powerful.
And I wanted the life that God has for me because I'd already been pursuing it wholeheartedly for about maybe 2 years. And it was amazing, and it was wonderful, and it was everything I ever wanted. So I just assumed that everything I ever wanted also included this family, right? And so when he said that, I didn't want to lose out. I didn't want to lose what God had for me.
Yeah.
Because I know that He has great things. I didn't know what they were, but I knew that I had it. So I was like, okay, but God, why do I have this great desire to have children? He said, don't worry about that. He said, don't worry about that. He'll take care of the kids. And He
So
has.
wait. So was this an audible voice or?
It wasn't. I can't tell you it's the same as us talking right now. But I can tell you I know it was God.
It was just a knowing in
It
your
was
spirit.
a knowing in my spirit. Like I was having a conversation. It was going back and forth. And I knew it was Him because it's not the first time He spoke to me. Like
And
that.
you're not going to tell yourself no husband.
Oh, I'm definitely not gonna. I'm not gonna argue with myself over yes, no, yes, no. It's gonna be yes. That's what it's gonna be. Honestly, like seriously. But I just knew. Like I knew because conversations like this happen in the head, right?
Yeah.
But this conversation happened in my head, but also in my heart,
Yeah.
and so it went deeper, and that's how I knew. That's how I knew this wasn't, Satan tricking me, my own thoughts going against me. I just knew. And also because it had been brought up from like 6 years earlier. And because it aligned with Paul. So Paul is really important because I just am so enthralled by his ministry and what he did and his writings. His writings are some of my favorite of the Bible. And so, like, when I read it, I'm like, yes, everybody should be single and give their lives to God, and I just wish everybody would pursue Him. And then reality sets in, and my friends have babies, and this and that, and I'm like, no, I want that too. And so,
Well, how are you right now? How old are you?
I'm 29.
So you're 29, and how have you come to grips with being single for the rest of your life?
Yeah, that's a great question. It really is, because a lot of people feel sorry for me, honestly, and I may have said that condescendingly, but truly, they actually do feel sorry for me. But I don't feel sorry for myself
Anymore?
No, not since May 2018. I have peace.
Oh,
I'm
only God.
happy for people who get married.
Yeah.
I'm happy for my friends celebrating their 5th year anniversary. I'm happy for them. And so it's like a weight has been lifted off of me, actually.
Wow.
Because finding the husband, because if I was going to find a husband, I wanted him to be the right person. I wanted him to be Christian. I wanted him to be a missionary. I wanted him to be in ministry. And so doing that was like a big burden. I had to find the right person. I can't fall in love with anybody. It has to be the right person. It's a huge burden. And so it was like that weight was lifted off of me. And so ever since then, I'm okay. Like I am more comfortable with who I am individually.
Yeah,
I'm not feeling
yeah.
like I'm missing. Like I'm only 50%, trying to find my other 50%. I'm whole. I'm very whole.
Yes, you are.
I'm very whole, and God has used it to teach me how He created me whole from day one.
Amen.
He created me whole from day one, and I relish in the fact that the love of my life is Christ. And that can sound cheesy, but like the love of my life is Christ, and truly He can fulfill anything I ever desire. And so I'm whole and I'm complete and I'm content. And thinking forward, being in my 30s and my 40s and my 50s. Well, my 2 greatest missionary heroes were single females on the mission field.
Who were they?
Amy Carmichael and Gladys Aylward.
Okay.
And so following them, I'm like, dude, I can live like this amazing life, doing what God has called me to do, and I can do that single. So like, there's no like, oh, I'm lacking, I'm insufficient, I can't do it. They did it, and this was like 100 years ago that they did it. And so like,
Wow,
most certainly I can do it. And was in the new millennium, right?
Yes.
And so I looking forward. So I'm fine. But other people, they feel the need to console me, and they're like, well, like I know somebody who got married when they're 52. It's okay. And I'm like, well, I'm great. I'm happy for that person, especially if it's of God. Good for that person. I don't see it the next 31 years. I'm okay. It's okay. It's okay to be single. It's okay.
Well, I thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing your story with us, because there's other single women that are going to watch this video, and they're going to be encouraged by your story and know,
I hope
you know
so.
what? It really is okay to be single. God uses us. He has plans for each and every one of us. And some of us, it's being married in ministry together. But for some of us,
Yeah.
you know, there's things you can do that I can't do because I have the responsibility of a home, my husband and grandchildren. And
It's true.
But you have the freedom when God says go, you don't even have to think about it. It's like, I'm gone.
And so that's the thing is like, I love talking with people, single and married, because like then married people, like when they find out that I'm called the single one, they somehow guilty. They're like, oh well, you know, like this, and they get all awkward. And I'm like, you know, marriage is a gift too, right?
Yeah,
Paul says that marriage is a gift too because I can do things that you can't do, but you can do things
Right.
that I can't do. Because when a wife has an issue with her husband and there's problems in the marriage, maybe I can give insight to like relationship conflict resolution, but I've never been married.
Yeah.
And so what's that going to do? How am I going to speak into them the way that a married woman in ministry
Right.
is going to speak into them? And I don't have kids. Like I can say that I have nieces and nephews and I can say that all that, you know, I feel like a mom, but that's fine, but I'm not the one up at midnight
Yeah.
with church the next day, you know? And so like married people in ministry, married leaders, married Christians are just as equally important
Absolutely.
as single. And so one is not higher than the other. I wish that that's what I want people to get a hold of is that like one is not higher than the other. I'm not holier because I'm single.
Right.
Because I'm devoted myself. Like I'm not a monk or was a nun or something. Like that's not the point of all this. I'm not holier than that. Like I'm just living the life that God has called me to. And you're living the life that God has called you to. And both are equally beautiful.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us
Welcome.
today. What a beautiful, amazing young woman of God doing whatever God's called her to do. I love her heart, and I'm sure you do too. Thank you so much for joining us on Silently Bleeding. Hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you on the next video.
Thank you for watching Silently Bleeding, Finding Hope for the Pastor's Wife. I look forward to connecting with you. Feel free to leave me comments down below and make sure and subscribe. If you want to know every time a new video is coming out, hit the bell. I would be so delighted if you would also hit the like button and feel free to share this video with anyone you know that this would encourage. Blessings, my friend.